order for her a GHASA TV. Yaba abestra penimpa wono ewo allied consortiums and as make us a company for no ho edin ochiso Mr. Benjamin Quashie edin wintimi monisa keke titles bi ka ho a was say mede ema na wono no Council of Elders ema NDC amanyoku no ewo oman South Africa mo and yenyina nim dia SC and the late E.T. Mensah Enokte Mensah Ningo Pram MP, former MP, and I've been former sports minister of South Africa. Say Oba Bejia Shekakra. Papa by Fufiantwata Ufimui. It was a beautiful ceremony on Moye at the Emano. It was Santin Sun Hotel. It was Santin. And Pennyfuina Edu Omenunyam Ebetechi. Mr. Benjamin Quashie, or your group chairman, Edema Allied Consortiums, or more South Africa. Papa dia Kotine, or NDC among you couldn't yepa. Said the Medican Kano, or your Council of Elders, Ewo Krumha, Nase, Asemsi Yaba. Yentimi, any amount for Chicken Como Ayama opening chain. And my best rano one office na yebedin komo kakra na nkomo no yebetwetwem yedi bi rerum mamema Mr. Benjamin Quashie akwaba Mr. Benjamin Quashie yamo akwaba eba GHASA TV so me da se pa me ya bibia boko de nyankopon adom bibia boko among your busy schedules no ajibre say woni ebedin komo yede be frafra tell me what is the relationship between you and the late E.T. Mensah?
I think so the late E.T. Mensah, he was a stalwart of our party. You can't crop for Omuka, the founders of the party, where you can't mention the names and leave the late E.T. Mensah. In fact, those of us who were back then in school, we learnt a lot from them, especially during his days as the Minister of Youth and Sports. And the zeal which he discharged the responsibilities in the NDC government then, it became a motivation to some of us. Now, Mekan as the first youth organizer of the NDC party, he brought so much to bear. We have something we call TAIN. We have something we call TESCON. TAIN is for the NDC and TESCON is for the MPP. The TAIN was an idea of E.T. Mensah. He started the whole idea, and he brought the likes of Haruna Idrisune, Nyauma Kano into this whole idea of forming. You see, I think the most cardinal thing about E.T. Mensah is how pragmatic he was in the party, and for me, it is one thing you cannot take away from him. He led an exemplary life, and despite the fact that there were other challenges, the fact of the matter is as a founder or a founding member of the party, he discharged his duties very well.
This tells us but let me ask this before I ever about South Africa. Did you have the chance to meet him personally, one-on-one?
Yes, I've met. I remember we had a program back then with the National Youth Council, and at that point, he was the Minister for Employment and Social Welfare. At that time, we came up with a concept that we call the National Youth Policy. At that time, it had not been encompassed into the national agenda of any party that was in stake. I remember we had a meeting with him, and he told us it was a laudable idea. We should continue fighting for the right of us as young people. And then he said something very profound then, you have to do what you do but be responsible. And I think growing up now, I've come to understand what it is to be responsible. And I think it's one of the things that I learned from him, and it's something that I think that most of us can also learn from.
Better was say, Mr. Benjamin Quashie. This tells us, Papa Nunim Yepa, and like you rightly said, you've learned a lot from him. Fast forward, Oba South Africa, Obeja Yareshe, and as we speak, we now call him the late E.T. Mensah. Obedu Kromohano, Neyareshe, would you have the chance maybe to visit him or the family, anything?
So the funny thing is that it's not funny. I would say it's the most unfortunate thing. I was on the same flight with them when they were coming to South Africa. I sat in the same aircraft with them. I think they were 2 rows ahead of me, and E.T. Mensah walked himself into the plane. Not, when people are sick, you see them in wheelchairs, and he was not in a wheelchair. But what I realized was that during the flight, it was a 5 hours flight. So at the point I slept. So my wife woke me up in the middle of the flight and says, that man that I pointed at was a former minister. He's sick. So I asked my wife, what do you mean he's sick? Then my wife said, no, he's been going up and down. The air hostess were following him and all of that. So I said, oh, maybe because he's an athletic person. Some people will sit in a flight and then jet lag. So he will want to walk up and down. I didn't know. When we got down, after immigration, meaning we were standing next to each other when we went for our luggages. And he was walking with Lorinda, the wife. They were walking hand in hand. He was walking and he was even cracking jokes. I didn't know at that point, he was sick or he came for medical attention. Okay. And so when I got to hear, he had been here for medical attention, I think the chairman of the chapter had drawn my attention, Honorable E.T. Mensah home fan. So I said, E.T. Mensah fufuru no kana, because this is somebody I saw on a flight myself. And so for me, it came as a shock when news of his death broke out. And I've spent time with the wife, Lorinda, and it's a sad thing. But all I can say is that the Honorable E.T. Mensah is a statesman, and he has served his country well. He has served his people well. There were videos of him singing Methodist hymn at the hospital. So for him to pass away at that time, it's not something we expected, but we have to accept the fact he is no more. I was telling members of the NDC, until I see the body, I would not believe. So fortunately, I was part of the few people who went for the viewing, and reality came to pass that this is the late. So now we don't say Honorable E.T. Mensah without adding the late, and that is nature.
That is nature. GHASA TV also had the opportunity to speak to the wife yesterday, and your name kept coming out of her lips, that you played a vital role even after the passing of the husband. She did even mention an amount of money you've been giving her and all that. Maybe, but for the sake of TV, I don't think it would be appropriate to mention those amounts. But generosity, it's part of you, or is it because he is an NDC member and you are one?
I think I have maintained this, that we don't need to only do things for our members of the NDC party. The ideology of the NDC is that we are social democrats. So when they say social democrats, we're far from those that are capitalist or property owning mentality traditions. I think the less I could do for E.T. Mensah's wife is what I did, and I did it in consultation with the party hierarchy here. The truth of the matter is, and she came here with the husband to seek medical care. She didn't know this was going to happen, so whatever their plans were had been truncated, and I say, she didn't know what's going to happen had happened. So everywhere that we can support her, especially as a party, because remember, the Honorable E.T. Mensah was a founding member of our party, so you don't joke with such a person. Fast forward, even not only as a founding member and a vocal person of our party, he is also currently a member of the Council of State. Now, member of the Council of State, body advising the president. So for him to be at that level of authority, it's something that we all should be proud about. Generosity, yes, we all need to be generous. I've been in South Africa. I've met my Ghanaian brothers and sisters, and I feel the little we can all do to ensure our lives are better, we'll continue to do it. And we only not do it for the NDC party. We've done it for a number of Ghanaians that are here, and we believe once we are alive and God gives us life and strength, we will continue to help where the need arises.
Mr. Benjamin Quashie and wakasa ne generosity on your mana manyuku nkomba ya ma yenyi na ebi besu so and enkomane de yeti na fe we will take a bit into his life, and so he will tell us about Allied Consortium, what they do and who needs to be here. Wrapping up on the late Yiti Mensah, no, Etienne and Awabeka.
I think, sir, I'm a member of the NDC party, a very proud member of it. And it's an ideology that I will never shun away from. But we need to be able to learn from the lives of such colossus humans. One thing I have seen from the passing of E.T. Mensah is that as a party, we the young ones, we need to read more, we need to learn more. I've had conversations with some of the delegation that came from Ghana, people that grew up with E.T. Mensah, the Honorable E.T. Mensah. So I feel it's a time that we need to learn more. It's a time that we need to learn about their service to humanity, their service to country, and their service to party. The party, like I've been told by E.T. Mensah's wife, was everything to him. He was a Cadbury member of the party. He paid his dues till the last. And I believe, sir, as young politicians up and coming, we need to cultivate such attributes from the learned folks who have been our forebearers, and we continue to learn from them and do things that would inure, not to the benefit of Yenkwa, because the E.T. Mensah that we know and what we've heard, he did it to the benefit of everybody. So we look at him from that perspective and ensure, say, we do it for the benefit of humanity and for all of us.
Let's do a bit of politics, but before then, the mission here, were they also helpful?
Well, the Ghana High Commission was extremely helpful. I didn't know until yesterday Ambassador Krakan said, offer on Nankasa personally, Ekachen so Baba Leta Bifi, Chief of Staff Officer. And so for the embassy, they were there at the airport. Like I said, picking luggages. Now I saw an officer from the High Commission who came to help them, took them to the hotel. And I hear, say, hospital here and there. The embassy, according to the wife, and from what I've seen, were very helpful, instrumental. We should understand, say, the embassy is here for all of us. And so where the embassy does things to our benefit, we need to praise them. Now, I tell people, say, irrespective of political coloration, many ambassadors already do, we have a very good relationship. And the relationship transcends beyond politics, because the most important thing is we should help Ghanaians or more. So I would give kudos to the embassy, thanking them for coming. I remember the Ghanaian delegation that came, there was an officer from the officers actually from the High Commissioner. They were at the airport from 12 midnight up. And I think, we should applaud them for that.
We should applaud them for that. Yegusua Hayagasa TV Yane Openipa, Mr. Benjamin Quashie, Group Chairman Alan Consortium, or no in any Jujan Comoy. Midika Kasebe politics Kakrebi, maybe Busana Simbina, maybe honest answer. Are you allowing them to break the 8 Anna? Some can't them winning MPP. I'm break it in as a mobile.
I think, there's nothing to break here. We've seen the abysmal performance of the Nana Baumi administration. When you look at the economic indicators, we are not doing well. And funny enough, CCR, we in the NDC are not the ones saying it. This afternoon, we've heard Professor Frimpong Boateng saying that where has the MPP taken us? Where did we get here? And you've heard Honorable Kennedy Japan say all sort of things about how they are amassing wealth for themselves. You see, I think we need to shift the discussion from breaking the 8 and talk about holding politicians accountable. Why do I say so? Times past, the vice president that we knew organized lectures. He even had questions, 170 questions for the late Quashie Misata. Fast forward today, he's the vice president. He now doesn't talk about those questions. He doesn't talk about digitization of the economy. Now he makes jokes. He talks about showdown. The Ghanaian people are suffering. And so if the Ghanaian people are suffering and all our politicians would think about is breaking the 8, then it means that when you elect politicians, they don't think about developing the country. They think about the next election. And for me, that is something that we should frown upon as Ghanaians. And I believe, even they, the members of the MPP, know that there's no 8 to break. I believe, President John Dramani Mahama is the rightful person to come. And he needs to lead us out of the economic mess we find ourselves in. It's not going to be easy. But I believe that the MPP administration, the Nana-Addo Bawumia administration that we have seen, they don't show, because if you have a president who goes to a function and says that he prays that the next leader will come and solve the mess, that means that he has already given up on the people. But we gave him a 4-year mandate. It's not even up to the 4 years, but he has given up on us. So Ghanaians will do the right thing. I believe in the judgment and the wisdom of the Ghanaian people, irrespective of our political colorations. The country is not doing well. We are on the spiral downward fall, and we believe that it's only an NDC administration led by President John Dramani. He's done it before, and we know that he will come and fix the mess.
My last question on politics. Between Honorable Kennedy Akompre-Japan and our Vice President Bawumia, who is a threat?
The two of them combined are no threats to the NDC. To be honest with you, if you say one of them is a threat, or the two of them combined, because you see, they have been part of the problem that we have as a country. Kennedy is a ranking member on defense. He's somebody who gets close to the president, and you see the mess we find ourselves in terms of security in our country. Just 2 days ago, hooligans of the ruling party went to a radio station to what happened to press freedom. And so I feel, Bawumia himself has not spoken lately about economic issue. I hear he's going about talking about digitization now. He moves from an economy where he says that there will be jobs. He said he has arrested the dollar, giving the key to the IGP. He doesn't talk about this thing. And I think that media houses should start going after the vice president and asking him to answer these same questions that he was talking to us in lectures. It's one thing to use economic theories that we learn in school, and it's one thing to put it into practice. And we've seen that in practice he has failed us. And I believe that the two of them combined are part of the monumental failure that this government have. We don't think they are any issue. They won't create any threat to us. The Ghanaian people know that this MPP administration has put us in this mess, and for this mess to be over and done with, we need a new leader, a leader with focus, a leader with vision, a leader that doesn't overpromise. Remember, the elections that we've gone past when the MPP won, they gave all the promises that they had to give. Promises that they knew very well that they were not going to be able to achieve. And you see, the Ghanaian people have become so wise nowadays that the Bawumia we know will not come and lie to us again. There's no breaking of it, and there's no competition between John Dramani Mahama, Alhaji Bawumia, or Kennedy Japan. They are good as the MPP wants them to be, and that good is what has led us as a country into this mess. We would have to rescue the sinking ship called Ghana.
Well said, Mr. Benjamin Quashie. No breaking the eight. Kennedy Japan and Bawumia put together, they are no threat. Okay, GHASA swa ena yawano before I wrap it up, on intimi maha ayen can be Emfa Allied Consortium who are they, what do they do, how do we benefit? So you so far so be an idea for a group of people here. We need to know. Mr. Benjamin Quashie, take us through Allied Consortium. What do you do?
Also, Allied Consortiums is a consortium of different companies. So we have Events EQ, we have BKQ Foundation, and then we have the WYC Foundation. And Allied is into real estate, oil and gas. We've done a couple of oil liftings and gas products from this country to Ghana. We're doing a much in real estate as well in Ghana. The whole idea is to transfer that idea of affordable housing like we have in South Africa. My vision for Allied, and the reason why we came into operation, was that I looked at the housing policies that you have here. And in Ghana, somebody will tell you, say, me pese me ko haida, almost into a 2-year advance. It's not everybody that has that money. I remember last month when I was in Ghana, a gentleman told me that he's a security officer. They pay him a month 800 cedi. And he's going to rent, and a landlord says he wants 2 years advance. Where is he going to get it from? So you see, the idea is that in South Africa here, if you have your money, if even you don't have it, you know that you're paying deposit plus rent for a month. Under certain circumstances, if you use a national person to do it, you can just pay 1 month rent and enter. So we have that idea of transferring that mentality that they have, where you can have flats down there, affordable housing where people will come and rent from it, get bank guarantees, not guarantees to pay. If somebody doesn't have the money to buy a house, you should be able to offer the person an opportunity to rent. Even if it is renting, not to own, you know that at least you've given the person. And you see, it's doable. It's doable. I've looked at the concept of the Seglemi housing project. I've looked at the concept of the current housing project that they are trying to come up with. And I think, say, it is the responsibility of entrepreneurs, because if you allow governments to go into this real estate industry, the government will do it with the intention of benefiting. Yeah. And so individuals will come in and do it better, because at the end of the day, we are not using taxpayers' money. You're bringing investors in there. So that is what we're doing on the real estate side. And also in the media landscape, we do a lot of things that has got to do with events management, and to do with international advertising and what have you. And I believe, say, Allied has come to stay. Allied is doing what it has to do, and we want to encourage others that it's not only about us asking for government employment. We should also look at this, or forming companies of our own, coming up with these brilliant ideas that we have here in South Africa. And I can tell you on authority, say, South Africa, you are here, I'm here. It's a brilliant place to grow a business. And once we grow the business, the good thing is that we don't want to remain with our operations in South Africa. We want to transfer that operations from here to Ghana and to other African countries going forward. And I think that we're doing what we have to do right.
Allied Consortiums, how long have you been in existence?
Allied has been in existence. In fact, Event EQ started as the mother company about 7 years ago, and then Allied came into effect about 5 years ago. So combined total, you can say it's 7 years. In Ghana, it started long way back, and then because the conditions in Ghana were not fertile, so we transferred all the idea to here. So the head office of Allied is actually here. We're trying very hard to go ahead with our operations in Ghana as well, and make sure that we learn from the South African model.
How difficult, how is it easy breaking it into Ghana, taking this concept back home?
The problem of businesses growing in Ghana is to do with the bureaucracies. It's to do with who you know, who you don't know, and somebody will tell you that, oh, this concept that you brought, we already have an idea. Let me give you a classical example. I remember I had a discussion with a couple of business people about this railway system in South Africa. There is no way in hell that we can say in Ghana we can have a speed train. So the concept was that let's not have a speed train, but let's have a train system that is as effective as the South African train system. So we spoke to a couple of people who came up with the idea, and then I remember the Honorable Asabi and others came here. The contracts that were signed, and 2 years down the line, nothing has happened. 3 years now, nothing has happened. You know why? The whole idea for the politician in Ghana is to enrich himself. Because if we had agreed to use the concept as it is, as have been promulgated in South Africa, as is very operational for all of us to see, I'm sure by this time in Ghana we should have our railway systems working very well. So the idea is the mentality of the Ghanaian people, the politicians' laxer attitude towards businesses, and the fact that if they can do it, that means we can do it better, and that has stalled our development. And I think in the developed economies, you see that everybody comes on board to help, and in growing the economy and making sure that we do things together to make the country better for all of us. Fortunately, in Ghana, it's difficult, but I believe that with time things will materialize, and then we'll get there.
Will you see, because your party wasn't in power, that's why it never had effect, it never took effect?
Irrespective of the fact that our party was not in government, this was something that was to inure to the benefit of the Ghanaian people. So if something is going to help the Ghanaian people, it shouldn't be NDC or MPP. It should be the Ghanaian people. For example, look at Terminal 3, the one that President Mahama built. I remember I now see our Nigerian brothers saying that in West Africa we have the very best airport. Then fast forward, Nanado comes into government, his daughter takes the whole of the duty-free shops. The mentality was to open Terminal 3 up for Ghanaians to come on board, and then we develop and open it up to another terminal again. But it's stalled because an individual thinks that their family should be able to do better. And I think that we should grow away from that. The NDC administration that I know of and the NDC that is coming into power under President John Dramani Mahama will do things very differently. The truth of the matter is that it is President Mahama's wish, and every day he says it, that whatever it is him ensuring that the Ghanaian people benefit. That is it.
Allied Consortium, they are here to stay. So before I take leave of you, you Ghanaians here in South Africa, mostly I think 70, if not 60% of these Ghanaians here are into salon business, and others are into other corporate and other businesses. How does the ordinary Ghanaian here living in South Africa benefit from Allied Consortium?
Well, I think that we have challenges as Ghanaians in this country. Genuine challenges, of course. Challenges to do with documentations, challenges to do with getting 3 square meals a day, challenges to do with leading a decent life. And like I said earlier, if you realize, I said we should shift the attention from governments doing things for us and shift it to the corporate world, to entrepreneurs coming up with business ideas, forming it. My take with Allied, and I have always convinced the board of Allied to help us establish businesses, like the Ghanaian community that are here. People come to us and say, look, things are difficult, we want to start this business, and we give them the support. My only worry is that a couple of our brothers and sisters find themselves arrested and detained. I think today we've dealt with 2 of those situations where we get lawyers here and we ask them, go see how you can be able to fight for them and get them out. I'm not saying that we are doing this to spite the embassy, but we are doing this to help the embassy as well, because the embassy functions on government money. But if the government money is not there, you don't expect the ambassador to use money from his pocket, because he's also paid. So if we small businesses, not only Allied, but other businesses that can come on board and then we help our Ghanaian brothers and sisters, we should be able to do that, knowing very well that we are Ghanaians after all, and whatever happens. I'll use this media of yours, medium also, to say that if you know of any Ghanaian who are having challenges and they need support, genuine support, we are here to provide. And I've asked that Allied looks at the corporate side of us. What we are deciding to do on the corporate side is to ensure that any Ghanaian that finds themselves behind bars for issues of documentations and others, we'll try our best to get the person out and see how the person starts life on their own.
This is good to hear. The people that are having challenges that I'll bring them to you is GHASA TV. They need support. So I'm bringing GHASA TV to you first for them to be assisted. Yeah, brother was Mr. Benjamin Quashie, or no, a group chairman, or stand a council of elders, NDC, with this juicy interview we had, especially the ending part of it, trust me, I think I'm liking it. And then if you need genuine support, please, Allied, they are here to stay. But before I take leave of you, you did mention, say, you're looking at setting up other business, certain small businesses for Ghanaians here. What do you have in mind? Have you thought of anything?
No, so the idea is Ghanaians here. I think we started incubating this whole idea where 2, 3, 4 Ghanaians combined will come and say they want to do the salon business. Instead of them going to rent mirrors and other things, we say, okay, take the whole structure. We give you the funding. And then after that, what we say to them is that we're not putting you into business for you to be paying us. We're putting you into business for you to help the next Ghanaian that needs help. And so we've started incubating that. It's working perfectly. The unfortunate thing was that we also started to do with this rent-to-own cars. And unfortunately, I think we had 10 cars that we gave to Ghanaians to work with. I was in Ghana one time only to be called that the ownerships of the car has been changed and it was sold. Till today, we've seen, I think we've retrieved about 4 of them. Others are gone. So you see, the mentality of the Ghanaian person, and I'm told that one of the guy who sold the vehicle said, no, if they sell that vehicle, it won't do anything to Allied. but he's forgotten that he has taken the next meal from another person. And so I think if we are able, we're piloting it again. We've started all over again to see how we can be able to help our brothers who want to go into the Bolt and Taxify and Uber businesses. And I think it shouldn't be only us. It should be all of us doing what we have to do to help Ghanaians. And I think the Ghanaian mentality of always trying to outsmart the other should end, because we all traveled here to make ends meet and help our families. In any way, shape or form that we can do that as allied to help, we are doing it. So we believe that Ghanaians will also do what they have to do here so that we help ourselves.
Mr. Benjamin Quashie, let me borrow these words from Honorable Kennedy Akumpreku Ejapon, and he has always been saying this: Ghanaians are naturally born bad, but I would say some Ghanaians are naturally born bad. You can do this. Say, you talk about allied and you don't know what you just said. Yeah, but that was your last words from the late E.T. Mensah, with all the conversation that we have, with the politics that we did, and then also taking us through what Allied Consortium are here to do or doing. Just wrap the whole thing up for me.
First and foremost, I want to say that E.T. Mensah's demise is a big blow to us. It's worse. We wouldn't describe it how we feel. Fortunately, tomorrow we're going home with the body, with the mortal remains of the late Honorable E.T. Mensah. And I believe that we continue to share our condolences with the family, the wife and the kids, and to say that Ghana stands by them. They had an illustrious son for Ghana. Like I always say, our lives are like stories. At the end of the day, they'll become stories. How well will the story be told about your life? And I believe that from the memorial yesterday, a lot of good things have been said about the Honorable E.T. Mensah. He was not a saint. And to quote Nelson Mandela's word, if a saint is a sinner who keeps trying, then you can call him to be a saint. I think that we continue to sympathize with the family and to hope God continues to strengthen them, and the state will also do its best to give the late E.T. Mensah a befitting burial. And the most important thing is not about the burial, it's about his legacy being upheld. It's about his legacy continuing to stay even after he's gone. On the issue of politics, I can just say to Ghanaians that hope is on the way. Elections have got consequences, and to quote President Mahamad's words, he says that this is not the time for us to tell Ghanaians that we told you so. This is the time for us to all rally together and say that let's help ourselves until we get rescued from the mess we find ourselves. I would urge Ghanaians, I would urge through your medium, the South Africans here, to speak to their families back home. And let's give President John Dramani Mahama a resounding victory. I say a resounding victory because I know the victory is there, but we give him a resounding victory for him to come and fix the mess that we find ourselves in. Even my friends and colleagues and our brothers on the other side know that President Mahama at this time is the only person that can come and fix the mess we find ourselves in as a country. In terms of business, I think that we will continue to encourage that we grow entrepreneurs among ourselves, and we continue to pray that the Ghanaian government mentality about businesses also grows, so that at the end of the day we'll create an enabling environment for businesses to grow in Ghana just like it's growing elsewhere.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin Quashie. Mr. Benjamin Quashie happens to be a Council of Elders for the NDC, and also here at Allied Consortium, he is a group chairman. This is GHASA TV. I am your regular host. The name still remains Kweku Kunedu. Thank you.